What's up, YouTube? It's your Everyday Bros coming at you with another movie review. This time we're reviewing the Alien Covenant. So, initially, I felt going into this movie a little bit excited.
I was pretty excited too. I actually was looking forward to seeing the movie.
Yeah?
Definitely. Absolutely. I'm a fan of the Alien series. I was looking forward to seeing if there were going to be any answers from Prometheus. And that was partially resolved.
Partially. Alright, so right off the bat, the way we're going to do this is we'll tell you if we'd recommend the movie or not, and then we'll go into some spoilers, have some fun with it. So for me, I would recommend the movie. I'd say go watch it, go rent it on DVD. I'd recommend Blu-ray when it comes out. Yeah, I would definitely watch it a couple times. What about you, Chris?
I'm totally on the same page. I would definitely recommend the movie. I did a lot of research on Alien, and I rewatched all the movies before going in, thinking that maybe I will have a better insight of what was going on seeing this movie. That being said, the answer is no, I did not. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of action. It was a beautiful film to watch. However, you walk away still confused. And I don't think it will make a difference on whether or not you had never seen any Aliens movies before or you knew them all back and forth. At the end, you're going to walk away entertained, but you're still going to be scratching your head on what the hell just happened.
Right. I gotcha. Cool. So go check it out, guys. If you don't want any spoilers, stop the video here, and we'll see you next time. Alright, so let's get to the spoilers.
Spoilers.
Big time spoilers. Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was very much about creation and where we come from, but not in the sense of trying to explain where you come from, but more of evolving from where you came from. That's what I took from the movie, you know. Like, it starts off with David, it starts off with Walter being woken up with the fire. There was a fire explosion. Was that thing that happened?
That's right. That was Walter. Right.
Yeah, so there's a solar flare, or what did they call it? Electrical storm?
I think it was some type of solar space disturbance, some random space act that justifies waking the crew up, essentially, and starting the film rolling.
Right.
Because they were on a destination trip to a colony planet. It was a crew of like 10 people, but they had 1,000 people in cryo freezing or whatever. Obviously, something had to jar them awake in order to get the story started. So
they start off, big crazy explosion. The captain dies. We don't even see the guy. He just burns up. It's garbage.
Which is payday for James Franco. You know what? I was like, I would love to know how much James Franco got paid, essentially, to be sick in the film, have a blanket over him and say, hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn in. And that was the last we saw of James Franco. Right. His ass burnt up through some kind of freak accident in the cryo chamber. So, big name, James Franco. 10 minutes in the movie, he's dead.
Right. And then throughout this, because of the whole issue that they had with the crew and part of the ship being damaged, they find another planet conveniently, which they had completely missed. And they go to it, and that's where they meet up with David after they have a close encounter with some aliens. There aren't actually aliens. They came from this little spore, which in my honest opinion was a lot more effective than a face hugger.
Yeah.
And then they go into, the ruins from the blue guys? What was it? The engineers.
The engineers,
yeah. So they go to the ruins for the engineers, and then the crew starts finding different things going on that's weird. And one big thing that kind of through the whole movie where you knew it was going to go was when David cut his hair to look like Walter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that part?
Honestly, it's not like I write movies, but if I have to criticize Ridley Scott, I thought that was sloppy. When you have two twin characters, and for those of you who don't know, we have I keep calling him Magneto because I keep screwing up his name. Michael Fassbender, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, with today's technology, he's playing two roles. One is the android Walter, and one is the android from Prometheus by the name of David. As soon as those two encounter each other, David, who is blonde, cuts his hair and dyes it to the dark brown of the Walter android. You see a mile away that at some point in time, there's going to be a switcheroo. And you don't have to be a film school, a student of a film school to know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that was a bit disappointing because you saw it. You knew it was going to happen, and it did.
Right. I mean, big spoilers, what do you think?
Well, I guess I was a little critical. First of all, okay, they were on their way to a destination, and they just so happens. Now, mind you, I get the impression from the film they've been doing research on this destination they were going to for years. I mean, this is supposed to be a pretty high-tech thing, investing millions of dollars to take this colony of people to colonize another world. They just happened to miss a habitable planet/moon on the way. I don't know how that's possible, but they did. And they just happened to run across David.
Right.
That was a bit of a stretch, but you know what? We had to keep the plot in the movie going, so that worked for me. Once they get there, they venture out, which, again, one of my criticisms of the film is this is supposed to be a very highly trained crew. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the people who go on a plane, the flight crew is pretty well trained on United. Well, dragging people out. But I mean, besides that point, they go on this new planet they've never been on. And what do? They take off their helmets.
Right.
Again, I understand you need to get the story going, but this is supposed to be a crew on a strange world they've never been in. I assume they would have been trained probably not to take off your protective gear.
Right.
Which they do, which mayhem ensues because they get infected by spores. The spore infects a couple of the crew members. They mutate. We get not the xenomorphs from the original movies. I guess we call them. They had a name for them.
Hybrid.
Yeah, they had a name for them, but they come out and they wreak havoc on the crew. It was okay. It was good. It was a lot of action. However, I think it was missing some of the suspense from the original Alien movie. Because at all times, you knew where these things were.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no hiding. There was no popping out. You knew where they were, and that took a little bit of the suspense out. And it also didn't have the Aliens aspect of it, where it was a kind of a rock'em sock'em action shoot 'em up film. It was lacking that as well. Good, bloody, gory, but it was missing some of those elements.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that part. It was a lot more, I wouldn't say fast-paced, but a lot more streamlined. Like, you knew where this was headed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, planet, meet up David, something happens, David's going to make xenomorphs.
Yeah.
Like that, it's like right there.
And it went totally on a side curve. Because, again, seeing Prometheus, I thought I was going to get the answers to the engineers.
Right.
Now, if you remember Prometheus, for those of you who have seen it, their whole goal was to find out the engineers created mankind. And the whole idea was to find out why did they create us and why they seem to be pretty pissed off and wanted to destroy us as well. Completely disregarded in this film. In fact, it focused more on David than it did on the idea of the engineers and their role in the alien universe. I felt a little gypped with that. They started to go a little too deep for me with the notion of creation and David being a creation of mankind, and because he couldn't create, he felt that he needed to create because he felt he was superior then.
Right, he felt superior. Definitely.
So, I wanted more answers with the engineers, and they completely sidetracked that.
Yep.
So that was a bit of a disappointment for me. Wasn't a killer, wasn't a deal breaker, but didn't answer my question.
Yeah, a lot of stuff had to be inferred. I feel like a lot of the engineered plot had to be inferred. Like, you had to be like, oh, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, you had to put the pieces together yourself, which I don't know if necessarily I should be obligated to do that as a moviegoer. Yeah, I don't want everything just laid out, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to fill in vital parts of a movie.
Right.
Because one of the things that did you remember that flashback that when David and I forgot the female character's name from the
Prometheus.
From Prometheus, when they arrived at the world of the engineers, my thought is, okay, we're gonna get some answers. What does Dave do? Dave opens up the door. He says something very deep. I don't remember what.
I don't know what he says.
He says something above my pay grade as far as knowing. And he proceeds to drop black goo on the engineers, thus killing them all, at least in that particular area. And you're like, what the fuck, Dave? I think I made the joke before is that, okay, you have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white guy meeting a group of indigenous people that they've never met before, never laid eyes on before in their world and their culture, and he proceeds to annihilate them. Which, again, I get it because maybe in some ways David felt superior to them as well.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But I couldn't help but having a comparison of some type of alien Thanksgiving, whereas David was a pilgrim and he's running across the Native Americans of a planet and pretty much takes their shit.
Right.
So that struck me as a little humorous during the film. But other than that, it was good. There was some sloppy screenwriting. Again, there was no suspense. You knew where the aliens were. The crew seemed to be kind of boneheaded.
Yeah, big time.
So they were pretty much nothing but fodder.
Right.
I kind of almost wish they didn't waste the time in trying to develop the characters because they really didn't, and you knew that half of them were going to be dead before the end of the film. What else? Yeah, and there was that scene in the shower. Did we talk about the scene in the shower?
We did intentionally.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I know everybody has to cram in some type of romantic scene in a film where people gotta they gotta get it on. But still, okay. At this point in the movie, they had just barely escaped the planet with by the skin of their teeth.
Right.
90% of the crew's dead. They're all dead. They've been killed, and they just managed to escape. What would I want to do knowing that all of my crewmen have been killed? I need to get it on with my woman in the shower.
Gotta get laid.
And you know what?
That's a bad idea.
Well, it's always a bad idea in the film because it just screams Friday the 13th. Every time that there's a couple that starts to get the nookie going on, they're gonna get a pitchfork through the mattress.
Oh yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I don't even know what point they served other than to be a good set to be killed in a shower.
Right. But yeah, that was it. I mean, it was good. I'd watch it again. Would you watch it again?
You know what? I would. Yeah. I would actually watch it again. Because part of my flaw, and that's me as a moviegoer, is that I was still in the formula of Sigourney Weaver and the other Alien movies. Where I see a female character, I'm thinking it's going to be focused on her, it's going to be a rock'em sock'em, shoot 'em up, strong female character, and she's going to save the day or do whatever she's going to do. Where actually, rewatching the movie, and I'm including Prometheus in this, David is actually the central character. If you watch this movie with fresh eyes, realizing that David is actually the center of all this, it may be actually a more insightful viewing.
Right.
So I would definitely watch it again.
Cool. So 1 or 2 thumbs up?
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up?
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up.
All right. You guys heard it here on Everyday Bros. Come back next time for some more movie reviews. See you.
Bye.